I'm just setting this up. How's that? How do I get rid of that? Just wait for people. Oh God, the people will actually see what I'm doing now when it goes up, won't they? Sorry, if you are watching this after the live, then no one was watching. Hi, so I can see there's one person. How are you? I'm a bit early. I'm a bit nervous. Hi Ashley. Hi Natalie. How you doing? Oh my goodness, I'm so nervous. I'm just gonna hang on. Hi. I'm just gonna hang on a second. Just to get a few people on here. Before I start, because I don't want to start and then have to keep coming back. So, hi sis. Hello. I haven't had I haven't had a drink. I've kept it. I've got to concentrate. So I haven't. So it's going to be a pure Brummie accent, I'm afraid. Right. Okay. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to hang on a little bit longer. It is the story of Jennifer Doherty. Heartbreaking. Absolutely. Thank you, Ashley. It is a heartbreaking story. It genuinely is. I'd heard about this quite a while ago, but I'll be honest with you, the information on it for quite a long time, it was really limited. And I kept looking, I kept trying to find on different platforms, and there wasn't a lot about this poor girl. But I've carried on and I've managed to find quite a bit of information on the case. Now, on my channel, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I've done quite a few of these stories, which are, I call them disability mate crimes rather than hate crimes. And the reason for that is, in a lot of the stories I've done, it's Gemma Hayter, Sean Rossington, Irving. Oh, I've forgotten his. Oh, that's terrible. But it is a story I've done, where these poor, kind, but not mentally disabled people. Hi Phil. They make friends with people and they get taken advantage of, and it drives me crazy, especially when it comes across, you know, you find out that they have got kind of the mental age of a child, basically, and they get taken advantage of by it just devastates me, because they tend to attract the dregs of society. And that's what's devastating about it. They genuinely do. Rather than meeting people who will, you know, good friends who will help them, who will be kind to them, who will love them, they end up meeting these rotten, just disgusting people. And I don't get it. I don't know why it happens. I don't know how these people can live with themselves after they've done it. Because like I say, I personally believe, I've said it on many stories, it should be classed as a child murder. That's my personal belief on it, because these are mentally challenged adults, but with the mental age of children. That's their mental capacity. Hi. And it's just absolutely devastating. Right, what I'm gonna do, I'm going to start, because I did say 8 o'clock and I have hung on. So I'm going to start. What I'm going to do from now on, I won't not acknowledge, that sounds really rude, but I won't mention any comments that have coming through. I'm just going to continue with the story. And then what I'll do is I'll say hi at the end and stuff, and see how you all are. So I'm gonna make a start now. So this is the title is The Heartbreaking Story of Jennifer Doherty. Okay, Oh, it's this one, honestly. It's just, ugh. Okay. Her name's Jennifer Lee Doherty. Okay, she was born on the 8th of November 1979. And she lived in Greensburg, Pennsylvania. Um, Now, Jennifer, lovely, lovely girl, but she was mentally disabled. And but she wanted that, as with a lot of the stories I've done, they just want to live normal lives like everyone else. They just want to be treated normal. And this poor girl, her mum, Denise Murphy, had said that even in school, right back to school, kids, I mean, she was born in 1979, so she was only a year younger than me. And school was brutal then. It genuinely was. And bullying was, it was kind of, it was a way of like, you just had to deal with it. You didn't have the help that was there now. And Jennifer, unfortunately, was a victim of this. She used to have chewing gum put in her hair. It wasn't just verbal, it was physical. She was physically beaten at school. So she had a really rough time, but it didn't stop her from being just this. She loved dancing. She was a really loving person. She was just a really, really a bright light in her family's lives. And, she had a lot of love from her mom and her stepdad and her sister. And she was doing really well. She started to do really well. And they wanted to encourage Jennifer as she grew into adulthood to make friends and possibly maybe in time get a place of her own, and just like the rest of us have that independence. They wanted that for her. But like I say, Jennifer had the mental age of maybe a 14, 15-year-old. So although we're going to move up now, we're going to move up to 2010. Okay. So Jennifer would have been 31 there. And she, at this point, she actually lived in Mount Pleasant. But where she was visiting was a place called Greensburg in Pennsylvania. And it was where there was kind of a special needs. What was it called now? If you bear with me, the West Centre in Greensburg. She was going to visit there it was a place where she could meet people like her, and it was about half an hour away, so she felt like she was getting a bit of independence. And it was here that she met a girl called Angela. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm kind of moving away from Jennifer for a second, and I'm going to introduce you to 6 people. Now, I'll say their full names and then I'll just use their first names, because otherwise it's going to get a little bit confusing. But we're going to start off with a lad called Malvin. Now, Malvin, it was born on the 27th of October, 89. So in 2010, he'd have been 21. Okay. Now, Malvin himself had learning and social difficulties. He'd fell out of a moving car when he was aged 5. So it did affect his brain and his intellect and everything else. So that's Malvin. Okay. So then we move on to Angela Lynn Marinucci. I've practiced that. Who at the time in 2010 was 18. She was born on the 14th of July, 92. Angela also had a head injury from being hit by a truck when she was 15. These are some very unfortunate people, you'll see. Okay, Amber Medinger. Now, Amber, at the point we're talking about in 2010, would have been 20. She was born on the 12th of January, 1990. Not a lot about her history could I find on her. Then we've got Ricky Van Edward Smearns, again, hard to pronounce now, born on the 6th of March, 86. He'd have been 24 in 2010. It's all going to make sense, I promise you. Now, Ricky, mental disorders from the age of 4. But this lad was abused and neglected from the get-go. Ricky was. Please don't, I promise you, please don't feel sorry for any of these people I'm talking about. But I've got to tell the whole story. So Ricky, he was abused, he was neglected from a very, very young age. By the time he was 6 years old, this lad had tried beer, cocaine, heroin, and weed by the age of 6. Okay, his dad had, I believe, gone to prison. He was just having a really rough time. He'd been diagnosed with 7 different personalities, but he was taken in. He was fostered by the Smyrns family. I know I'm not pronouncing that right. But he was fostered by them and taken in. But then he got abused by the foster dad and the uncle. So by the time Ricky reached 11 years of age, he'd sexually assaulted a woman in a basement, one of his neighbours. So this is Ricky. Okay, we move on to Robert Masters. Don't know a lot about his history, but he was born on the 22nd of December 73, and he would have been 37 in 2010. And Peggy Darlene Miller, she was born on the 3rd of February 83. She would have been 27 in 2010. That's the 6. Now, the 6 I've just told you about are now called the Greensburg 6. And I'm about to tell you why. Okay. So we go back to Jennifer. And bless Jennifer, like I say, she'd been going to this West Centre in Greensburg, and she'd been meeting people that she believed that were like her and that she could make friends with and they could get on with. And, you know, it was just, it just seemed like a new lease of life for her. I'm sorry if you see me stuttering slightly. The comments are still coming up, so I'm not ignoring anybody. I just don't want to break what I'm doing, so I will answer everything at the end. So Jennifer meets Angela. Do you remember Angela Marinucci that I mentioned? Now she meets Angela. Now, Angela, I believe, was pregnant at the time she met Jennifer, or she became pregnant not long after. You'll realise why I've mentioned that soon. But they end up getting on really, really well. They do. They get on really, really well. So that relationship is beginning, and that friendship's beginning between Jennifer Doherty and Angela. So that's happening at the West Centre, and they're getting on well. Over in another part of this story, you have then got Amber. Remember, she starts a relationship with Melvin. Okay, so this couple, they get together. They kind of have had a similar upbringing. Similar things happen. So they think, right, okay, we're gonna go across the country, and they ends up in Greensburg, where they meet. It's just such a snowball effect. It's so sad. So Amber and Melvin meet Ricky. Okay. I believe Amber met him in prison. Good people. So they met. She gets in touch with Ricky, and he's like, yeah, come and live in my flat with me. Also in that flat is Angela, Peggy, and Robert. Okay. So we have Amber, who's with Melvin. Ricky is with Angela. Yes, you're right. Angela's a minor. Angela, we've worked out her age. She's about 17 in 2010. Ricky, I think I'd worked out isn't he in his third? No, that was Robert in his 30s. Sorry, Ricky's 24. Oh, still though, 24, you know. Shacked up with his 17-year-old girlfriend. Anyway. And they're also living there is Peggy and Robert. So you've got the 6 all living in this flat, and they've all got their issues, but they're all getting on. So Jennifer then gets introduced to, she gets introduced to all the other five. So she's made great friends with Angela. She believes she has. And she gets introduced to the other five, but Jennifer takes a liking to Ricky, Angela's partner. And it's believed, it's been said, but it was Ricky that said this. So we don't know if it's 100% true, but it's been said that Jennifer and Ricky started to meet behind Angela's back. Now, Jennifer seems, from what I can see and what I've researched, seemed like such a sweet girl that one of two things happened. It's not true. Or she was manipulated by Ricky into maybe thinking he was going to leave Angela. I'm not too sure, but it just doesn't strike. She doesn't strike me as the splitting up a relationship kind of girl. She just doesn't. But it was said that Ricky and Jennifer had got quite close. He claimed that he loved her and all this kind of stuff. And basically, Angela finds out. She overhears a conversation between Jennifer and Ricky, and she's not happy about it. So Angela invites Jennifer on if you bear with me, on Wednesday, February the 10th, 2010, she invites Jennifer round to the house with the 6 of them. And because Jennifer's met them all, she thinks they're all her friends, and she tells her family she's going for this is her first sleepover. She's 31, and this is her very first sleepover, and her family, the sad thing is her family have encouraged it. They think these people are amazing, and because they've all had similar, well, it appeared that they have similar issues. Her family just thought she's going to be safe, she's going to have fun, and it's just going to be this amazing time for their daughter and their sister, and they encourage it. So, like I say, on Wednesday, February the 10th, 2010, Jennifer updates her MySpace profile, which I know Facebook was out then, but she was on MySpace anyway, and she put, "This is my time!" Exclamation marks, like, this is it. This is where I start to live my life. Just so excited to go and spend the night at her friends. And her stepdad Bobby drops her off into Greensburg itself. And she's met by Angela. And I think she's met by Angela, Ricky, and Melvin. So yeah, she's met by them. I'm so sorry. I have got a couple of people coming in now, watching. I'm not going to go all the way back, but it's just to let the people coming in now. All you've missed is the people involved, but it is about, the main person I'm talking about is Jennifer Doherty, so you can catch up. So Jennifer's met by Ricky, Angela, and Melvin, and she's taken back to the apartment, and she's so excited. She's got all her stuff. Everyone remembers their first sleepover, and I know she's 31, but let's remember, mentally she's around the 14, 15 year old mentally. And we all remember that first sleepover, and you're so excited, and you think you could stay up late, and this is going to be great. And it just wasn't. It just went so badly wrong from the minute she walked in the door. You see, Angela, even though she's the youngest out the whole lot, out of the 7 of them, she was I'm going to say she was a vicious little bitch. I'm saying it out loud. I don't swear in my stories, but it just gets you so angry. And they'd already made a plan of what they were going to do when Jennifer came round. This was all set up. And so shortly after Jennifer walks into the house, so excited and, you know, thinking she's there with friends. Don't forget she's met all these people before. She's been getting to know them over time. Pretty much straight away, they grab her bag off her and they take her money out of it. They take her bank cards. They take her phone. Okay, so that's her kind of lifeline, if you like. They take her phone. And she must have been so confused. She's like, she's been invited round. She knows these people. Her and Angela have been friends for a long time. If what we're to believe is true, she's got a relationship with Ricky, and all of a sudden these people are appearing to turn on her, and she doesn't know why. Then with the remaining contents in her handbag, they just pour a load of liquid into it and just destroy it. Okay, that's the beginning. She just doesn't understand it. She doesn't get it. And then all of a sudden, she's hit over the back of the head with a full 2-litre bottle of pop, straight over the back of the head. And so begins 36 hours of Jennifer Doherty's torture. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell you exactly what was done to Jennifer in those 36 hours. Okay, so she was hit with her head with pot. It wasn't just one pop bottle. They just pop bottles. I mean, they shaved her head. It was just all a lot of humiliation, I believe, at first. They painted her face with nail polish and just really, really daft things, but must have been very humiliating for her to begin with. Then they started throwing liquids on her. They'd moved on from her bag, and then they started throwing the liquids on her head. Then they were throwing spices on her head, so of course that's getting in her eyes. Then Amber and Angela, they took turns. Those vicious little vipers, they took turns beating her with crutches and a metal bathroom towel rack, jumping on her stomach. You know, it just started to escalate. Now, I don't know when this was planned, if it was planned to go this far. I don't know whether they all just got in the moment, and it's just, you know, that kind of group pack mentality. I'm not too sure. We've seen it a lot in the stories I've done, but it starts to ramp up quite quickly. She was then stripped, she was gagged, and then she was raped by Melvin as the others watched and laughed. She was forced to eat feces, urine, detergent. All this time she's begging for help. Obviously she's crying, her eyes are stinging, she's in a lot of pain. And they just didn't care. This was a fun time to these people. It was like, she deserved it, apparently. And then again, the humiliation. Ricky turned around and he was like, he said she smelt, so they made it, you know, go and take a shower. You know, they've done all this to her, and then they've got the audacity to be like, oh, do you know what, go and take a shower and then we'll carry on. Then they tied Christmas ornament round her. It's February, by the way, but yeah, they've tied Christmas ornament round her. And then apparently Amber or Angela, do you know what, I just throw them both in the same rat, but I think it was Angela. Jennifer fought back. She fought back, and she actually hit Angela at one point. And now Angela's pregnant. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. Right, I did. She's very early days pregnant, I believe, but she was pregnant. So of course, it's the audacity to hit me back. So of course that's it then. So they like I say, they tie her up with Christmas decorations. And they decide what we're gonna do with this girl. So they all go out. And she's left with Peggy and Robert. Now, if you notice, you've heard about Ricky, you've heard about Angela, you've heard about Amber, and you've heard about Melvin. Robert and Peggy, although they haven't done anything to her, they've been present for all of this. Bearing in mind, Robert's the eldest out of everyone there. This bloke's 37 years of age. He's 37, and he's there watching this girl getting destroyed for nothing. For nothing. Not only that, she has no idea of what is going on. These are her friends. She has no idea why this is happening to her at all. One of them was supposedly her best friend, and the other one, if we're to believe what he said, loved her and she loved him. And I mean, it must have just been terrible for her. Well, Robert at one point went out, and her clothes, when she'd been stripped by Melvin, had been thrown out of the apartment. So Robert went out and grabbed them and brought them back to her. And so we're meant to believe he said to her, get dressed, and he was trying to get her out. So we're meant to believe, I don't know. But they came back. So I don't, did he do that? I don't know. But they came back anyway. And overnight now, they're getting a bit bored. They've beaten her. She's been raped. She's been tortured. They've done everything they can think of, and now they're a bit bored now, and they're like, what do we do with that? So they all take a vote. They take a vote on this young girl. Bearing in mind, Jennifer has the mental capacity of a 14, 15-year-old. So they're taking a vote on a child's life. I know she's a grown woman, but that's how I see it. And they're taking a vote on her life, and they all vote, she's got to die. She's got to go. We can't risk sending her home. She's going to grass us all. So she's got to die. So they obviously vote. The Melvin's got to do it. The lad with also mental disabilities. Now, there'll be no excusing what he did and what he does. I'm just saying this is the lad they voted for. So then she was stabbed multiple times by Melvin, in the chest, in the side, in the throat. And they believe she's died. They believe that he's killed her. And a little bit of time passes. And a very small amount of time passes, and she's still breathing. She's still alive. And apparently Ricky, the one who I had technically, like I say, we're to believe it, caused all this because he couldn't keep it in his pants, says, boy, that this bitch won't die. I'd struggle with how these people walk the earth. I just don't get it. So then she's stabbed finally. Her wrists are cut. And yes, that's how Jennifer Doherty died. On the 11th of February, Thursday, the 11th of February 2010. But just before that happened, they got her to write a suicide note. That these are the six of them. That's what they come up with. They got her to write her own suicide note. Just before this. Okay. But then what really drops this story from absolute brutality and torture and just disgusting, what drops it is, do you know what Angela wanted to do? She'd got them Christmas floats, and they wrapped Jennifer in these Christmas floats and turned them on. The girl's dead. They turned them on, but they didn't work. And it said that had they worked, they would have kept her there. They wanted her to be their Christmas tree. Do you know what? It blows my brain that there are people out there. Like, it genuinely does. When I do these stories, I get so angry because right, okay. Right, let's continue before I start going red in the face and I start blood. Right. So, the lights didn't work. So now they're like, oh, what do we do? So they then put Jennifer in rubbish bags. And another just depth of their depravity. Do you know where they put her? They put her in a bin in a middle school. In a middle school bin. It was called Greensburg Salem Middle School. And that's where they put her. So what's devastating about this now, Jennifer luckily was found by a truck driver because the kids weren't in school that day. I think it was a snow day. They weren't in school that day. Could you imagine if a child, middle school? Now, I believe, obviously being from the UK, but I think, isn't that around the 11 to 13 age range? Is that, if I'm right, 11 to 14 age range? How on earth could they, in a school? But, so, Jennifer was found by the truck driver, and at this point, her family obviously are losing their mind because she was supposed to be back. She was supposed to be back the next day from her sleepover. They were expecting us to come back with all these stories and, you know, just be full of life and be like, oh my God, you know, I've had the best time. And as time was going on, they were getting more and more concerned. And the police obviously got in touch very quickly. She was identified very, very quickly. And what's so upsetting about it is the family, even to this day, still blame themselves for the fact that they encouraged the friendship. And that's hiking, because they were just doing what they thought for her. They wanted her to have a lot. They didn't want to keep wrapping her in cotton wool. She didn't want to be wrapped up, much like Gemma Hayter. She wanted that independence, and they believed that she'd met six people. You would think that 6 people, there'd be at least a couple that would defend their child if anything happened. No. 2 of them, although 2 didn't actually take part in any of the torture or the murder itself, they were present for the entire duration, and they could have helped at any point. And the excuses given by the majority of them was, we didn't know if they'd turn on us. We didn't know what they would do. Do you know, I have no words sometimes. I genuinely haven't. So, obviously, everyone knew where Jennifer had been going that night. So, the sentences were as follows. Now, Amber, where am I? Angela was the minor, wasn't she? Now, although Angela, Melvin and Ricky were found to be the main ringleaders of the whole thing, even though Amber was very much involved too, but it was mainly those three. Angela, because she was 17 at the time, was a minor. So although Pennsylvania did have the death sentence, which I don't know if anyone from the USA is watching now, I don't know how you feel about it, but everyone knows if you watch my stories, I have nothing really positive to say about the British justice system with regards to their sentences for the most abhorrent crimes, and the perpetrators of it get next to nothing. So I rarely have anything good to say when it's a British story. Now the fact that the death sentence is available, especially in this state after what they did to her, I don't know your opinion on it, but I just genuinely, I was like, when I heard what happened to these people, I was like, that's why I'd love for us to have a similar result here when people are found guilty. So Angela, like I say, being a minor, but on the 3rd of August 2011, she was sentenced to life without parole. Then in May 2020, these people, it doesn't end there. These people, I'll read their sentences. They all came back saying, no, it's too much. It's too long. Please don't give us that. But so she got life without parole, but in May 2022, it was changed to 60 years to life with parole being offered in 2070. So if that was 2010, she was 17. I should have worked this out beforehand, actually. So that was 17 in 2010, so that's 60 years. So she'd be 77. Basically, but she had the audacity to try and come back and go, no, not me. Melvin, obviously, I'd like to say I'm convicted about this, but I'm not. I know he had learning difficulties. I understand that. But so did Jennifer, and I don't believe that. No, it's no excuse. I'm sorry, you can say I'm torn, but Melvin on the 30th of August 2012 was sentenced to death. He appealed it in September 2014, and as of November 2020, it was upheld. So he's still on death row. Okay. Ricky, the third one, don't get me wrong, I'm not separating any of them, but I'm just saying the ones that really, Ricky, the love interest, the one who loved her. See, when I keep hearing that, I think he's kind of, I couldn't have done it to her. I loved her. I don't know if that's what went on, but on the 28th of February 2013, he also was sentenced to death. And in February 2017, this was upheld. So fabulous. I'm sorry. I don't feel bad. I don't. They're still on death row, and the sooner the better. Like I say, I don't know everyone's feelings on this. Like I say, I don't live in a country that has the death penalty. When you're doing stories like this, it just gives, especially when it's a sentence, crimes that are here and they're so heinous, it just gets me so angry when I know, especially in this country, when I'm doing the story, 9 times out of 10, the person's already been released. So to do a story where I know that at least 2 of the perpetrators are on death row, I just think I'm not, yeah. Okay, so I got carried away there. Okay, so Angela, Melvin, and Ricky. Amber, on the 4th of December 2013, she got 40 to 80 years. On November 2019, she tried to change the above sentence, but nothing's happened with that as yet, so there's been no decision on that one yet. Hopefully it doesn't get changed. Hopefully she does the full 80 years. But I'll obviously keep an eye on that one. Peggy, who sat around and watched it all and did nothing. 35 to 74 years. And Robert, again, who sat around and did nothing, under a plea bargain, I believe, on the 19th of December 2013, he got 30 to 70 years. So even the two that say they didn't do anything got 30 years and above, you know. So it and from there they are now called the Greensburg Six. It's just, although obviously the outcome that they are being punished, and two of them greatly more than the others, but there's still no real reason, 100% reason of why they did what they did. Was it because of this love triangle? Some people have said it was the hate crime, which is why I've mentioned the disability mate crime. I've done many of those cases. That some have said that because a few of them had their own disabilities, that it wouldn't have been for that reason, but I don't think that stands up. I just can't see Jennifer going, just on what I learned about this girl, going behind a friend that she's met, going behind her back with her boyfriend. I just find that hard to get my head around, but we'll never know, because none of them actually came up with anything, really. We'll never know, because I don't know, did they think if they speak that? I personally don't think they really had a reason. I think it was a night of kicks for them. And it escalated. What got me, and the reason I say that, is the Christmas lights and wanting her to be their Christmas tree after she'd passed. After. Think about that. Think about that poor girl, and she's now lying dead on their floor, and what they come up with. It kind of brings it away from murder. It goes into another realm, I think, when they're all sitting around going, put the Christmas lights on her, turn them on, let's put her up. Who, how? Okay. As for Ricky and Angela's baby, remember she was pregnant. The baby was born in prison and is now in, this was 2010. So she'd have had 2011. What we know of the baby went into foster care. I really hope that the baby knows nothing about his or her parents. They've been adopted and they're living a nice life. That's all I hope out of that come from them pair. That's all I can hope. And then, right, okay, on the 23rd of April 2012, Jennifer's law came into place that her parents fought for this because of the two stood around and did absolutely nothing to help. I went and got her clothes for her. Did you? Did you really? Well done. But Jennifer's law came into play, making it illegal for someone to witness a violent crime and fail to report it. Failure to report will be a misdemeanor of the 3rd degree. Sorry, I was reading that. I just want to make sure I've got it right. It will be classed as a misdemeanor of the 3rd degree. And obviously, because of these two absolute idiots that just sat by and watched and did nothing. They left the house. Amber, Angela, Ricky, and Melvin, they left the apartment. They left. They could have let her go. They didn't get involved in it. No one's come forward to say that they were involved in the torture of her, they're involved in the beatings or anything else. Mind you, they did sit back and watch her get raped in front of them all. So why would they have helped her when they'd left the house? Why would they? It's just such a devastating case. It genuinely is. And much like my other stories that I show, I never know how to end it. I really don't, because it's just devastating. But that was the heartbreaking story of Jennifer Doherty. And I just want to thank you all for joining me on this live. Let me just see the comments, because I haven't been coming back. So I wanted to concentrate. Hi, Kelly. Yeah, it's just absolutely devastating. I've seen out the corner of my eye a couple of you mention Emma Kenny. Oh, my idol. And guess what? I'll go to see her in November. She's on at, I believe it's the Utilita, I think. So I'm going to see her in November. I'm very excited. It's kind of a VIP one, so I think I get to meet her. So yes, she's amazing. She's absolutely amazing in a lot of my stories. A lot of my earlier stories where I'd got a lot of the information from Britain's Darkest Taboos. Anyone who has never watched that series, Britain's Darkest Taboos, I'm pretty sure you can get some of it online. Amazing series. Emma Kenny is one of the psychologist on there that comments on the crimes themselves, and that's where I first started seeing her, and she's amazing. So yes, I do watch her myself, and I just want to thank you all for sticking with me. It's been a long one, and I'm really glad you stayed with me. I'm sorry for the stuttering and the kind of getting a bit sidetracked and going off on my tangents, which I do tend to do that. But I just want to, like I say, thank you so bad. Yes, her baby is very cute. And yeah, I just want to thank you all so much again. My sister's been putting all my information on there. And what I'm going to do, and I'm going to try to do, is do a live every Thursday night at 8 o'clock. That's where I'm heading with this now. I've always wanted to be able to do the stories live. And now that I've done my first one, I feel quite comfortable. And just want to thank you all again. So I am going to go. But as my earlier live showed, I don't know how to come out of this now. So if you all bear with me, I am going to say goodbye and just thank you all again. And yeah, I'll let you know. I'll probably pop up something during the week to let you know what my next story will be. I've got a group on Facebook. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. I won't mention the group because we're special kind of people. But yeah, thank you all so much, and I'll see you all soon. Thank you again. Right, I'm saying thank you and I'm saying goodbye, and I don't know how to come out of it. Right, let's try. Please don't. Oh, there it is. I'm going. Thank you again. I'll see you all soon.